The days I spent as a wet nurse for my best friend's son. In the bathroom, my best friend admired my curvy figure and then invited me to help nurse her child. But when I arrived at her house, I was completely stunned. My name is Bai Shui. My second baby was born not long ago, and my husband passed away in a car accident shortly after. The driver fled the scene, and we couldn't find anyone to pay the compensation. Both our parents are gone, and now the tuition for my eldest child and the milk formula for my second are all on me. As I was feeling overwhelmed, my best friend Zhang Lin and her husband came to visit me. Zhang Lin is my only true best friend, and we held hands, both of us feeling deeply sad. But Chen Xiong, sitting on the side, was staring at me, and it made me uncomfortable. Before they arrived, I had just finished feeding the baby, and my clothes were a bit disheveled. I quickly adjusted my clothes, but the next words Chen Xiong said made my hand tremble as I tried to fix my outfit. Bai Shui, Lin is right. You'd be perfect to help us nurse the baby. I froze, confused. What did he mean? Why should I help them nurse their child? Zhang Lin giggled and pushed me toward Chen Xiong, giving me a playful pat on the shoulder. Honey, see. I told you my best friend would make sure the baby is fed well. I was slightly annoyed. Lin, what are you saying? Zhang Lin quickly added, Shui, what Chen Xiong means is that you come to our house and help feed the baby, okay? Then she sighed, I really can't nurse the baby properly. Zhang Lin had also given birth 2 months ago, but for some unknown reason, she had been dealing with some kind of blockage. You're taking care of 2 kids and don't have time to work outside, and your husband, well, you know. She paused with a heavy sigh. Shui, maybe you could help us out. It'll provide some income, and I can have and call you godmother. They both spoke in turn, and it really started to make me think. Although it sounded a little strange, I had no time for a job outside, and this way, I'd make some income and do them a favor. Why not? I gritted my teeth and agreed. Thank you, Shui. Don't worry, we won't treat you badly. Bai Shui, tonight, after you put the eldest to bed, I'll have Chen Xiong drive you to our house. Their house? I was a bit hesitant at the thought of going to their place to feed the baby. It was that I was lazy about moving, but Zhang Lin's father-in-law, Chen Xiong's dad, Chen Zhuang, also lived there. He wasn't a good person. At Zhang Lin's wedding, he sat next to me, persistently trying to get me to drink and taking advantage of the situation to make unwanted advances. The more I remembered, the heavier my heart felt. I was about to back out when suddenly, the baby cried loudly from the room. Zhang Lin and her husband, as if fearing I'd change my mind, stood up and headed for the door. I hurriedly sent them out and returned to comfort the baby. And so, helping them feed and became something I agreed to without much thought. Later that evening, when my eldest returned from school, I made him dinner and put him to bed. Then, Chen Xiong called. Bai Shui, I'm downstairs. Are you ready? And is really hungry. Chen Xiong kindly opened the passenger door for me. As I bent down to get in, I instinctively noticed his intense gaze. I hurriedly sat in the passenger seat, but to my shock, he followed me inside. His tall frame made me feel a bit irritated, and I wanted to scold him to get out. But before I could, he spoke first. Bai Shui, let me help you with your seatbelt. After fastening the seatbelt, he didn't immediately pull back but kept his gaze fixed on me. Bai Shui, you're really beautiful. The phone rang, and the car's screen displayed Zhang Lin's name. I quickly answered, hoping to use her voice to stop Chen Xiong's actions. Honey, where are you? And is starving. Zhang Lin sounded anxious, and in the background, I could hear the loud cries of the baby. It wasn't just Chen Xiong, even I, as her best friend, felt my heart soften. Chen Xiong immediately stood up, his expression returning to normal as if he had only wanted to help me with the seatbelt. Chen Xiong's house was about a 30-minute drive from mine. After we arrived, I quickly walked ahead, trying to put some distance between myself and Chen Xiong while also wanting to get to Anan as quickly as possible. I felt a pang of sympathy as I held Anan, whose cries were almost hoarse from hunger, and couldn't help but scold softly, the baby is starving like this. Why didn't you prepare some formula first? Oh, I was just waiting for you to arrive, Zhang Lin explained with a giggle, quickly leaving the room to give me space. As I held the baby and watched him drink happily, my heart softened once more. As Anan neared the end of his bottle, he suddenly choked, and I quickly stood up to pat his back to help him burp. But just as I turned around, I saw Chen Xiong standing in the doorway, staring at me. I was startled and quickly turned away, my mind flashing back to the car scene. I was so furious that I shouted, "Zhang Lin, why didn't you close the door?" Zhang Lin rushed over and took the baby from my arms, apologizing, "Oh, I was just about to go to the kitchen to prepare some fruit for you." "Chen Xiong, really, you're worried about the baby, but you don't need to stand there staring, do you? Don't you trust me to take care of Bai Shui?" she said with a playful tone, as though she didn't see any issue with the situation. Chen Xiong, standing beside her, seemed to be doting on the baby with the same loving gaze. I wanted to say something to Chen Xiong, to even tell Zhang Lin about the incident in the car, but for some reason, I held back. Zhang Lin clearly trusted Chen Xiong, and he now acted like a devoted father, not looking at me the way he had earlier. Maybe Chen Xiong was really just worried about the baby, and all my previous thoughts were misunderstandings. I kept my mouth shut, following them to the living room where we ate fruit. Halfway through, Zhang Lin handed me some money, adding an extra 500 on top of what we had agreed. "Bai Shui, consider this as a little nutrition money for the kids. As your best friend, I want to help however I can. I'll need your help to feed Inan tomorrow too." Zhang Lin spoke with sincerity, and I felt deeply moved. Just then, I heard a voice from the door. "Is that little Shui? I heard you came to nurse my grandson." It was Zhang Lin's father-in-law, Chen Zhuang. He stared at me rudely, and my face darkened. Still, I didn't want to cause trouble for Zhang Lin, so I forced a smile. "Dad, you're back. I'll go cut some more fruit," Zhang Lin said, quickly getting up and heading to the kitchen, while Chen Zhuang made his way to the sofa. "Har har, my eldest grandson is really lucky," he laughed crudely. Now, only the two men were left in the living room, and I suddenly felt uncomfortable. I stood up, intending to leave. But then, Chen Zhuang grabbed my arm. "Little Shui, it's rare for you to come, don't rush off." I screamed and stood up, knocking over the drink Chen Xiong was holding. Just then, Zhang Lin came out of the kitchen, and seeing my clothes were wet, she hurried to pull me into the bathroom. "Bai Shui, clean yourself up. I'll find you some clothes so you don't catch a cold." It wasn't until the hot water hit me that I finally regained my composure. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became, scrubbing the parts of my body that Chen Xiong had touched several times, trying to rid myself of the uncomfortable feeling. But after waiting for a while, Zhang Lin still hadn't brought me any clean clothes. I couldn't wait any longer and called out, "Zhang Lin, have you found my clothes?" The sound of the bathroom door opening was my answer. I immediately pulled the curtain back to reach for the towel. But to my shock, it wasn't Zhang Lin who entered, it was Chen Xiong. He held out a shirt and said, "Bai Shui, we don't have any clothes that fit, but you can wear my shirt for now." I quickly retreated behind the curtain in fear, but as I stepped back, I lost my balance and fell, crashing onto the floor. "Ar!" I cried out in pain but still reached out, desperately calling for Zhang Lin, clutching the curtain. "Zhang Lin! Zhang Lin, are you there? Chen Xiong, I'm warning you, get out right now, or I will tell Zhang Lin everything." But to my horror, Chen Xiong didn't stop. He kept walking toward me, his towering figure bringing an oppressive feeling through the curtain. "Are you really going to do this to Zhang Lin?" I screamed in fury, but nothing changed. "War, war." The loud cry of a baby echoed through the room. Chen Xiong froze. My heart raced as I hurriedly put on my clothes and ran out. It wasn't until I got home that I finally dared to take a breath. I quickly sent Zhang Lin a message asking where she was. It took a while for her to reply, "Bai Shui, I just went out to buy you some clothes. How did you get back so quickly?" I stared at my phone in silence, unsure of how to respond. No wonder that bastard had the audacity to act so boldly. Zhang Lin wasn't at home. To be honest, in the heat of the moment earlier, I really wanted to confront him, to expose his true nature to Zhang Lin. But now that I had calmed down, I hesitated. What if Zhang Lin didn't believe me? What if he turned things around and made it seem like I was the problem? Would I lose my only best friend, Zhang Lin? After thinking for a while, I sent Zhang Lin a message. Lin, I'm still worried about the baby being home alone. How about you bring Inan over to my place? I can confront him directly, but I could avoid him, right?" Thankfully, Zhang Lin was understanding and didn't ask further questions. She soon replied that she was on her way. The next day, after I was ready, I told Zhang Lin, and she quickly replied that she was outside, asking me to open the door. But when I opened it, to my surprise, it was Chen Xiong standing outside. I reacted quickly and tried to close the door again, but Chen Xiong was even faster, his thick arm wedging it open. No matter how hard I pushed, I couldn't get the door shut. Through the gap, I could see the intense look in his eyes. Suddenly, memories of what happened yesterday rushed back to me. I lowered my voice and gritted my teeth. Chen Xiong, I warn you not to do anything crazy. This is my house. I know all the neighbors around here. If I scream. Before I could finish, I heard a familiar female voice from outside. Hey, honey, why are you standing at the door? Is Bai Shui not home? I froze. It was Zhang Lin. In that split second, Chen Xiong had already pushed the door open completely. I stumbled back and met Zhang Lin's curious gaze. Bai Shui, what's wrong? You don't look well, Zhang Lin asked. I forced a smile. I had a bit of trouble sleeping last night. Come on in, both of you. They came in and sat down in the living room, and thankfully, with Zhang Lin there, I wasn't too worried about Chen Xiong making any moves on me. Bai Shui, I bought this just for you. It's the same taste as when we were kids. Zhang Lin handed me a cup of milk tea. It was just the way I liked it, both the flavor and the temperature. A warm feeling spread through me. Since my parents passed away while I was in college, Zhang Lin had been my closest friend. Despite everything, even now that she had a family of her own, I still held a place in her heart. I happily sipped the milk tea, but at the same time, my mind was racing, trying to figure out how to deal with Chen Xiong and his father. After finishing the tea, Zhang Lin and her husband prepared to leave. I breathed a sigh of relief, thinking I had finally escaped danger. But just as I got up to see them out, I suddenly felt my legs give way. Before I could react, my body slumped, and I nearly fell. Bai Shui, are you okay? Chen Xiong quickly caught me, his strong arms holding me up. I was pressed against him, and I felt myself growing dizzier by the second. I heard Zhang Lin gasp in surprise. She first touched my forehead, then grabbed her bag and headed toward the door, saying she was going to buy medicine for me because I had a fever. Lin, don't go. But Zhang Lin had already closed the door behind her, leaving me alone with Chen Xiong. His thick arm wrapped around me, and I couldn't break free. Chen Xiong smiled at me, his previous serious demeanor in front of Zhang Lin completely gone. I gritted my teeth and said, let go of me, there's a pharmacy downstairs. Lin will be back soon. But Chen Xiong seemed completely uninterested. Bai Shui, you really smell so good. Lin. I kept calling out to Zhang Lin, but in that moment, I regretted not exposing these two bastards' true nature earlier. The pharmacy was downstairs. Why hadn't Zhang Lin come back yet? Hey, Zhang Lin, you're here to see Bai Shui. Why aren't you going in? Zhang Shu, I was just coming up. I'm about to open the door. I heard voices from outside, and I realized Zhang Lin had returned. Chen Xiong, realizing the situation, quickly set me down on the sofa and distanced himself from me. Everything seemed to return to normal, as if nothing had happened. But I knew something had changed. I was going to expose this bastard's true nature. When I looked up at Zhang Lin, however, the smile on her face made me hesitate. She looked so happy. If she knew what her husband had done to me, would she still be so happy? It didn't feel right to just tell her like that. I forced myself to suppress my anger and decided that I need to find the right moment to speak out. I had to tell her, though. I pretended to be tired and told Zhang Lin and her husband that I needed to rest. After some persuasion, I managed to get them to leave, though Zhang Lin looked worried. Once they were gone, I lay in bed, tossing and turning. The restless feeling in my body slowly faded, but the more I thought about it, the more something didn't sit right. I kept thinking about Zhang Lin and Chen Xiong, and I realized they were the only variables today. Could it be that Chen Xiong had done something to me? I replayed every moment of contact with him, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary. I was getting more and more anxious. Should I call the police, or go over to check on Zhang Lin myself? Just as I was debating, I received a message from Zhang Lin after several days of silence. But to my shock, it wasn't from Zhang Lin herself, it was from Chen Xiong, his voice deep and somber. By Shui, Lin Lin has been in the hospital these past few days. She's just been discharged and is back home now. He also sent me a picture of Zhang Lin lying in bed, bandages wrapped around her hands, legs, and even her head, along with a hospital discharge note. Lin Lin, why didn't you stay longer in the hospital? I texted, heartbroken. Zhang Lin smiled sheepishly. I was worried about Anan, and Chen Xiong wouldn't let me stay any longer. He insisted I leave. Bai Shui, please come visit me, Zhang Lin said again. Without thinking, I immediately agreed. No matter how afraid I was of Chen Xiong and his son, I couldn't leave Zhang Lin hanging when she needed me. After settling the two children, I went downstairs, only to unexpectedly run into Chen Xiong waiting for me. My heart tightened, and I silently pulled my clothes tighter, watching him warily. It seemed like he knew what I was thinking. He lowered his head and said, Bai Shui, Lin Lin asked me to come pick you up, and I'm also here to apologize. I remained cautious, silently walking around him and continuing forward. There was no sound of him chasing after me, and my steps involuntarily slowed down. I tightened my clenched fists, applying a bit of pressure, but eventually, I relaxed. When I spoke with Lin Lin earlier, she seemed very satisfied with Chen Xiong. She had been very worried when she was hurt, rushing around, and whenever she needed something even during work, he would come home as soon as he could. After all, he's still Lin Lin's husband, a family member. If things became so tense because of me, it wouldn't be right, both emotionally and logically. I sighed, then finally stopped, turned around, and looked at Chen Xiong, who was still standing there, looking full of regret. He looked as if he was truly remorseful. As soon as he saw me looking at him, he straightened up and bowed deeply. Bai Shui, I was blind before. Can you give me a chance to change? I also hope you can forgive me, and please don't tell Lin Lin about this. His tone was sincere, his eyes full of pleading. It seemed like he was truly worried that Lin Lin would find out about this. I took a deep breath, then agreed, not just for him, but also for Lin Lin. Everyone makes mistakes. If Chen Xiong was really repentant, then giving him one more chance wouldn't be too much, as long as he wouldn't let Lin Lin down. Chen Xiong followed through. When he invited me into the car, he even opened the back door for me. On the drive, he behaved properly, not once saying anything inappropriate or trying to touch me. As for Chen Xiong's father, Chen Zhuang, I rarely saw him anyway, so if I avoided him, it wouldn't be a big deal. Luckily, when we arrived at their house, Chen Zhuang wasn't home, which made me more comfortable. I immediately sat by Lin Lin's bedside and checked on her condition. Chen Xiong played the role of a caring husband, attending to Lin Lin with great attention. Even I benefited from it, as he brought us all kinds of delicious food and drinks. While we were chatting, he left us alone and went into the kitchen, only coming back when the food was ready, knocking on the door to call us for dinner. Since it was still early and the children could sleep a little longer, I decided not to refuse and stayed to have a meal. Once we helped Lin Lin sit down, the dinner table quickly filled with laughter and joy. It felt peaceful. Midway through, Lin Lin became excited and said she wanted a drink. I quickly stopped her. Since we were little, whenever Lin Lin got too excited, she'd lose her bearings and forget about her condition. She was already taking medicine and recovering from an injury, yet she was shouting about drinking. Lin Lin, you're still injured and on medication, you can't drink, Chen Xiong also stopped her. How about this? I'll drink with Bai Shui, and you can have water instead of alcohol. Chen Xiong persuaded Lin Lin like one would a child, and when he asked me to drink, he didn't show any signs of being a bad person. It was clear he was only having a little to cheer Lin Lin up. Soon, Chen Xiong brought the wine over and poured a glass for me. Looking into his eyes, filled with affection for Lin Lin, I felt more at ease. To be honest, when I first heard about the drinking, I thought he might do something to me again. But since I had already fed the children, having a small drink tonight didn't seem like a big issue. We toasted together, celebrating Lin Lin's recovery, wishing her a speedy recovery. However, the wine seemed fine when I drank it, but its after effects hit hard. I began to sway, propping myself up on the table, with Lin Lin's gaze fixed on me. Bai Shui, you're drunk. Why don't you stay here to rest? I waved my hand, looking at Chen Xiong worriedly, and said, No, the kids are still at home. With that, I struggled to pick up my phone to call a ride. But Lin Lin snatched my phone away, her face beaming with an innocent smile. Bai Shui, you can't move in this state. Don't worry about the kids, I'll have my father-in-law go to keep them company. I followed her gaze, and noticed Chen Zhuang had somehow quietly appeared at the table. Uncle, when did you get here? I slurred, a sense of unease rising within me. This old man was nothing like Chen Xiong, he might do anything without hesitation, and I would probably have to suffer in silence for Lin Lin's sake. So, the best solution was to avoid him as much as I could. But my head was spinning more and more, standing up became difficult. I could only force myself to speak, Lin, the phone. It seemed like Lin didn't hear me at all, as she leaned closer and whispered in my ear, Bai Shui, you're drunk. Go rest, I'll take care of the kids. But how could she, a patient herself, take care of 2 young children? And on top of that, she had a baby in the house. But Lin didn't explain, only giving a glance at Chen Xiong and Chen Zhuang. Dad, husband, since I'm injured and can't help Bai Shui to rest, I'll leave it to you two. I started to see double, and the feeling in my chest grew heavier. My alcohol tolerance wasn't that bad, was it? Besides, I only had a small sip to be cautious. But before I could think more, Chen Zhuang and Chen Xiong were already walking toward me. I saw Lin Lin's expression change. She looked like a completely different person, her face cold, with only jealousy and anger flickering in her eyes. Lin, why are you making that face? Lin slowly spoke, Bai Shui, I lost a lot of money gambling. Chen Xiong promised to help me pay it back, but the condition was I had to sell you. Bai Shui, the baby is still so young, I can't let him grow up without a complete family. You don't have a husband, and you want to make things better for yourself and the kids, right? I looked at Lin in disbelief. I couldn't believe those words came from the best friend I had grown up with. I struggled, let go of me. Let go of me. In the end, I felt like my strength was drained, and my closest friend just stood by coldly, selfishly watching. In that moment of desperation, I thought of the children at home, and of my late husband's final words. Suddenly, my body surged with a burst of strength. I kicked Chen Xiong hard. Chen Xiong groaned in pain and curled up on the ground, but I didn't let my guard down. I quickly grabbed my bag, which had fallen to the ground, and pulled out the black tool inside. Zidzi! A strong electric current passed through, and Chen Zhuang fell down to the ground as well. This was the self-defense tool I bought after my husband passed away. As a widow with children, I had to protect myself. I looked at Lin, my heart full of pain. Lin, how could you do this to me? Do you feel no guilt? Lin's face was full of mockery, and just as she was about to speak, I felt a sharp pain in my back and collapsed helplessly. It was Chen Xiong and his father. My counterattack wasn't lethal, and after a short pause, they recovered quickly. The 3 of them teamed up again, closing in on me step by step, seemingly enjoying seeing me frightened and fleeing. Bai Shui, stop running, behave. We won't kill you. Lin, Chen Xiong, and Chen Zhuang held me down. Stop. A loud crash echoed as the door was kicked open, and a clear voice rang out. My heart finally relaxed. Before I closed my eyes, I saw Lin's grateful gaze toward me. When I opened my eyes again, Lin was sitting by my hospital bed, and I found myself lying in a hospital bed. Bai Shui, thank you. Tears welled up in Lin's eyes as she held my hand, crying uncontrollably. Her injuries weren't actually as severe as she pretended. She had deliberately made herself look injured to deceive me as part of the plan with Chen Xiong. What Chen Xiong and Chen Zhuang didn't anticipate was that when I came to visit Lin at the Chen family's house, it was all part of the plan Lin and I had set up. Although Lin wasn't as immobile as she had made herself appear before, there were indeed real injuries on her body. Husband, see, I wasn't wrong. My best friend will make sure the kids are fed. Chen Xiong and his father, Chen Zhuang, were no good. They weren't just bad to me, but also to Lin. Lin was in unbearable pain but was unable to escape their threats. I felt heartbroken for my best friend, so I decided to help her set this trap. At first, when Lin brought Chen Xiong to my house, she had intentionally created an opportunity for him to harass me. She had been standing by the door, hoping to capture evidence of him harassing me. Unfortunately, before she could take the photo, a neighbor happened to arrive, and to avoid Chen Xiong noticing anything suspicious, she had no choice but to leave. But we didn't give up. The presence of Chen Xiong and his father posed a threat not only to Lin Lin but to me as well. We were determined to ensure they faced legal consequences. So, Lin Lin went along with their scheme, pretending to cooperate with Chen Xiong to lure me to their house. In reality, when I was pushed down, she had already called the police, which was why they arrived just when the situation was most dangerous. Lin Lin gently touched my injured waist and couldn't help but tear up again. Bai Shui, I'm so sorry. I got you into this mess. I tenderly stroked her face. Lin Lin, don't cry. Cheer up. From now on, it'll be just the two of us raising 3 kids. And we still have unfinished business. This time, let us make sure we get the divorce, and then send those 2 perverts to jail. Don't give up, okay? Lin Lin nodded firmly and answered, okay. After several months of struggle, Lin Lin successfully divorced. She gained custody of the children, and Chen Zhuang and Chen Xiong were both convicted of intentional injury, illegal detention, and other charges, receiving prison sentences. While this was happening, Lin Lin and I quickly packed up and left the area to settle in a new place, starting our new life.